Well, where is your kind of mind at in terms of processing the win the other day and then looking forward to UW, this weekend?
I guess you start with the CU game. First off, very appreciative to our fans. I thought it was an amazing crowd, especially with Dead Week the next week. I thought the seniors showed out. It was loud. It was a great environment, and really appreciative to just Coug fans throughout the season really showing up at Geisa Field and making it a really tough environment to play in. And just proud of our players for staying the course. When you really peel back the onion and look back at how we played, I mean, what a half of football, really, in all three phases. But the effort, the energy, and just the focus for our guys, you tell they wanted to play. And we were physical and we attacked them, and I thought Cam played well and efficient, and we kept him upright and clean. You can see when that happens, really positive things happen for our offense. Once again, we'd love to run the ball a little bit more, but was effective enough to keep them off balance. And then you're going to win games when you score defensive touchdowns. We tried to overcome that at Cal, and it's really impossible. And just really proud of Leighton Smithson. But on that play, Josh Meredith had one of the best effort blocks I've seen and took out three guys to build the seam. So, there's unsung heroes like that all the time when you watch the game tape that you're really proud of. And, it was a big win for us and set up a great week here coming into UW.
I don't know if I was going crazy, but Nakia looked faster and springier than he had in I don't know how long. Is that the way you saw it, or kind of what did you see out of him on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, looking back on the season, is a piece of it that we just missed. I mean, he was an 800-yard running back last year, and we just haven't been able to get him to that point for a variety of different reasons. So to see him go out on senior night and perform the way we always felt like he's capable of playing is important. You would love to see that more and want to see that again this week, because we're going to need it. So, yeah, the one, kind of spun out of it, got a 9-yard gain out of a 3-yard loss, I thought was really big, and those are things good tailbacks do. So the play down the sideline reminds you of the Wisconsin game. So it was good to see some old flashes, and hopefully let's be on a track to finish really strong.
With the Apple Cup getting extended for another 5 years, one, I'm wondering if you had any hand in making that happen, and either way, it's kind of what your reaction to seeing that was.
I had zero hand in that. That's way above my pay grade. It's one of those things, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think is a little bittersweet. We should never have to get to this point where we have to schedule out-of-conference games, and I understand both sides of the reaction, like I do. But when I step back and I look at a 360-degree view, we've been playing for over 100 years, and that needs to continue, right? And I think anytime you have an issue that people have an emotional reaction to, that means they're bought into it, whatever side of the coin you're on, right? It's a little bit, like I said, I see it both ways. I do. But at the end of the day, we're playing for the Apple Cup. That means something to every person that wears the Coug. Every man that's been in our locker room is very important to him. So everyone tunes in and watch the game. It's going to be different being in September, right? And those are some of the things that, you kind of look at it and the bigger bittersweet aspect of it. But at the end of the day, this rivalry needs to continue, and I do think that's important. Okay, some of the other stuff involved around it, I get the reaction to it. I do, because I feel sometimes the same way. So, but we're excited. We want to play against the best, period, right? So excited to play against a strong team and keep the Apple Cup tradition going.
Does knowing that this weekend isn't the last one change anything?
No, it doesn't, because I think there's always emotions that you have to control regardless. And there's a lot of, I guess what you would say, storylines around this football game for both sides. And at the end of the day, whether there's a lot on the line or, we're both without any wins, it's who's going to effectively execute their responsibilities and control the emotions. And we got to go into a really tough environment and steal a win. And it's going to take our guys performing the way they're capable of doing it and playing with an effort and energy level that's going to rival our opponents. So it's going to be a tough matchup to go there and win, and our guys are going to be prepared and ready to do it.
We know on paper what it means, but can you put into words what a win or a loss would mean this weekend?
Well, I've been on both sides. And, the joy you feel for everybody else when you win that game is pretty special. I meant it. Obviously, as well noted, our fans came on the field and all that stuff, but the alumni, the faculty, the staff. I mean, when you come back and everyone's just beyond excited on campus, like you really feel what that game means, right? And then obviously last year, not getting it done, and you see how someone else celebrating with the trophy. I mean, it's tough to take. So it's one where we're trying to be 1-0 this week, but it comes with a prize, and that prize is very important to all of us.
Bulletin board material guy? I mean, obviously you shouldn't have to get your guys motivated for this one here, but do you use any external, motivators like last year's tape or anything like that?
I actually am not, because I'm a big believer. Like, if anything I say, like they want to win the game more, like I don't understand that, or something they say or do. Guys are well aware, and we have our players' full attention this week. I will say that. Okay, we know what happens with a win. We know the rivalry. We know what happened last year. I'm not a believer in bringing all that stuff up because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to performance. It's all about how we're maximizing performance Saturday at 1 o'clock. So our mind's got to be clear. It's got to be focused. It's got to be detailed on doing your job, and that's it, right? So as a coach, when guys know what time it is. They know what time it is. So there's nothing I need to say to get them going.
And talking about the performance itself here, one of the big things on defense for you has been the ability to get to the quarterback and rush him. And the other side's got a pretty good one in Penix. He's only been sacked 7 times this year. Is that a tribute to
their offense? Do you know how many times he's passed?
How many times he's passed?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Like 450 times. He's been sacked 7. Okay, so there's a lot of talk about the receivers and the quarterback, which is well-deserved. This offensive line is incredible. 55 is the best offensive lineman I've ever seen on tape, ever. Okay, so if we can affect him, not even sack him, try to move him off his spot is something that's really important in this football game, right? And we'll do a variety of different things, right? Yes, you have to affect him. The one game that he wasn't quite sharp and on point was Arizona State, and they affected him. They didn't sack him, but they affected him. So he's a first-round draft pick, Heisman caliber player. I mean, there's only so many things that you can do to try to get him out of rhythm. But besides the downpour that was Oregon State, right? So at the end of the day, it's just getting him off his spot, trying to get him to move around, and he doesn't make bad decisions with the ball. And like in all situations, he's had time to sit in the pocket and really navigate. So the challenge is real.
And then you got a pretty good quarterback yourself there. I'm sure you're very confident in him, and he's coming off one of his best performances of his career here. I mean, what does a win in a performance like that do going into this one for him?
Well, I think Cam's a pretty confident person regardless, but I thought Saturday or Friday night was a good confidence builder, right? When he sits in there and goes through his progressions, we've always said he's going to be very dangerous. And last year, when you go back and watch that game, he made some unbelievable plays to keep us in the game, right? Unbelievable plays. So it'll take I don't want to put weight on it, but it'll take some of those plays of Cam's magic and going out and doing it and being the playmaker that he is for us to continue to stay ahead, because we got to score with him. We really do. We got to score with him. We got to find ways to be aggressive, and what that means, we'll kind of figure that out as the week goes. But also play within ourselves, because when you try to do too much, that's when mistakes happen. So they don't turn the ball over much. We got to make sure we're taking the ball over. That'll be a big part of it, and who wins the red zone will be vital.
With all of the ups and downs that you guys have had this year, you've got a chance to get to a bowl game with a win. You've got a chance to knock down your rivals' the college football playoff hopes on Saturday. Is your message to your team kind of like everything we still can get out of this season is right in front of us, or how are you kind of presenting this game?
Yeah, we talked about it this morning because we moved on pretty quickly. We've already had a walkthrough, and we'll have another one this afternoon. But I think the guys understand that, right? So our message is 1-0, and what can we control, period. And going on the road is tough in this league to get a win. So I always lean to more of the importance of what the Apple Cup means, what the rivalry means, so they understand what they're walking into. To say it's just another game is not fair. It's not. But at the end of the day, the way we prepare for it, the way we plan for it, and the way we need to execute is just like any other game as far as going out there and getting a win.
And when you look at the tape from Friday night, what kind of sticks out from your secondary? because they had a great game against some seriously talented receivers. They've got Odunze and the rest of that crew this week. What kind of stuck out from them, and do you feel confidence building from them heading into this game?
Well, the stats do say we have about half as many explosive plays in the past game as we did last year, right? Which was a big focus and an emphasis, and I thought we've done a good job of that. Now, Travis Hunter made some big plays, right? But I thought we did a good job of keeping the ball in front of us. And I think you look at Washington's offense, I mean, it's very unique. First off, it's like formational wizardry, right? There's a lot of trade, shift, motions, get you out of sorts, and then, boom, they're going to take the ball up top. They're going to max protect. They're going to do a lot of different things that kind of keep you off balance. So communication, and every time we've had an issue this year, I've stood up here and talked about communication is everything, right? So worked hard on it this morning. We're going to work hard on it as we go, and just making sure everyone knows through the different shifts and motions and trades that they're doing to be on the same page. We'll be okay. You also got to concede that they're going to make some plays, and you can't let it rattle the next play, right? Because they're good players, So, you mentioned those guys. I mean, Dumze is top 20 pick in the draft, right? So he's going to make some plays. Let's bounce back and not let it affect the next play.
And then, as a coach, we talked about it last week. You had the short week with Colorado on Friday. What does an extra day of rest when they played on physical games?
We needed it off of 7 straight weeks. We did. We had some meetings planned for Saturday, and when we won, we called it Victory Saturday. So we gave the guys off a little bit. Saw them this morning. You could even see it on their faces. They're just rested and recharged and ready to attack a new week. When you win on the short weeks, it's very precious. It's like gaining something really big. So, by the time we hit the practice field Tuesday morning, I think our guys are going to be really feeling fresh and ready to go. And same thing, it's a build to make sure, we're peaking speed-wise, which we did last Friday, and going into Saturday.
If you guys ask about between Essa, Shaw, and Leo, any updates on those guys?
So Shaw's day-to-day. Essa, we're hoping to get back, definitely for some indie stuff, and hopefully get him into some scout. He's a guy that does need to practice throughout the week to make sure he's maximizing. We felt great about Rod. Rod Talavea came in and did some really good things, and Christian held his own. But Washington's going to have some really good pass rushers, so we got to make sure we got our best guys ready to go. And who else did you ask about? Leo, same way. We hopefully to get him out there on Tuesday and see what he's capable of doing. So I think all those guys hopefully are ready to bounce back.
With Shaw being questionable, and then Javen looked like he was inactive because he announced he's going into the portal. I'm wondering if you could just kind of give us an update on how you handled that situation with Javen, and then if Shaw can't go without Javen, how do you kind of approach UW's receivers?
Well, we'll approach it the same way we did last week, and Steven's been great, and Jamario's been great. And I would say one of the unsung heroes of our football team, period, is Cam Lampkin. Okay, I mean, to perform the way he has been just phenomenal and that consistent. I always knew he had the talent to be that consistent. I think he's been just phenomenal. So, trying to think of the original question, those guys are ready to go. And everything else that we deal with on the team is private, so had a conversation. It was pretty simple. It wasn't going to be here, so let's move on and let's go. And we don't flinch to that, and we just coach the heck out of the guys that want to be here and do it the right way. And Steve and Jamori are beyond excited, and they've earned those opportunities.
There was an availability earlier in the season. We were talking to Kyle Williams, and he said something along the lines of he wants to keep the game fun, and it's supposed to be fun. I'm wondering how much you see of that in him, and how he tries to keep the game fun.
Kyle Williams?
Yeah.
During the game?
Or just in general.
Well, Kyle's an ultimate competitor. And what I've learned about Kyle, he's really hard on himself. And I think that's what he's trying to allude to in that is that, and I remind him, give yourself credit. And a lot of times as a receiver, I was a D3 receiver, so, wasn't very good either, but felt I was always open. You don't control where the ball goes. Right, so there's been highs and lows as far as dealing with emotions, and that's okay, but he is an ultimate competitor, and I thought you saw again what he's capable of doing, taking the ball down the field. We probably haven't exploited those matchups enough. But Kyle loves football. He loves competing. In the locker room, he's got some pretty good dance moves. He enjoys it a little bit. I think he's one of those guys that comes every day, ready to work, and we're still working on the maturity aspect of it as far as, trying to build them up into being a professional every day. And you're right, you better enjoy what you do because we dedicate a lot of our time, effort, and energy to this. So expect big things from Kyle on Saturday.
And then can you just kind of take us back to winning this Apple Cup in 21? You were just named the interim head coach. You guys blow them out. 2 years later, you're the head guy. I'm wondering if you can kind of just take us back to that year winning, and then if it feels any different going into this game.
It was kind of a blur, if I'm being honest. But we had a group that was extremely hungry, and a senior class, more importantly, that it's one of the only things they hadn't done in their career here, right? And really helped, a group that really helped reestablish Washington State football. So they went in there with a purpose. Our guys were having fun. We're on a pretty good streak kind of going into the end of the season and playing ultra confident. And that's really what you saw in that game. I think we had 3 interceptions. They played the young kid, and we took advantage of that, and the offense was rolling. Didn't quite finish in the red zone. But I would really remember the game as just the pure joy. It took an hour to get these guys off the field, right? And the equipment guys are like, oh, come on, we got to go. I said, no, we don't. Let them enjoy it, right? And obviously breaking the streak meant a lot to our fan base and us, just football program in general. So it meant a lot, and it was a fun kind of jump start to our career here.
On such a big week, how do you guys as a team celebrate Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have a plan. Wednesday night, we go out, we go bowling as a team, obviously because the guys don't have class, and just kind of enjoy each other's company. And then we'll practice Thursday morning, come back at noon, get some film in, and then at 1 o'clock, where we'll be spending with our families and our football family up in the press box of having a great Thanksgiving meal. So it's very important, and just really giving thanks not only to the people that got us here, but just in general why we're here and our families, and it's fun to be around, and it's part of the sacrifice that you make when you're a football player, right? This is now your family on Thanksgiving and hopefully Christmas, right? So we'll be excited about that. Bill's making the gravy. I'm a big green bean casserole guy, so it's got to be right. It's a little crispy French onion topping, it's got to be good. That's the one thing I look forward to this time of year.
I was about to ask your favorite Thanksgiving dish. Is that it?
Oh yeah, I've said it every time up here, and people shake their head at me, but I'm green bean casserole all the way. Don't love turkey. Just make sure it's not dry. Stuffing. My father-in-law makes the real stuffing that you put in the bird. It's unbelievable. So there's some highlights out there, and anything with cranberry just can go straight in the garbage.
That's a strong take.
It's a very strong take. My mother-in-law likes it, and is like, especially coming out of a can, it's like, what is that? You know what I mean?
You kind of touched on this with just the mentality this week of being 1-0. Obviously, that's the focus. But as the final Pac-12 matchup, is that something that comes to mind? How do you kind of process those emotions of the end of an era?
Until you said that, I really didn't think about that. Thought about it a little bit in Colorado game, but it's not the end of the Pac-12. We're in the Pac-12. We're going to rebuild the Pac-12, right? So it's just going to look different. So that's kind of the mentality we all have right now. And once again, college football is not done changing, not even remotely close. So what that looks like over the next 2 years, the best part is we have control over that. And we're excited about that. And going forward, we'll see kind of where everything goes. But just those things haven't crossed my mind right now. And but probably from an outside looking in after the season, you'll think about it a little bit. But it's just what we need to do right now to win this game. All right, go Cougs. Enjoy Thanksgiving.